It's not been a good week for His Holiness Pope Leo XIV. Those papal optics, not a good look. We're going to get into Pope Leo XIV's response to the Durbin controversy, the Cardinal Cupich scandal, which was followed up immediately by the blessing of an icebox flown 2,500 miles with all of its carbon emissions. But if you think those papal optics look bad, well then what's going to happen when the new Archbishop of Canterbury from England shows up at the Vatican and expects to receive the same level of dignity and respect as her predecessor? Oh yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. Let's get into it in this walk and talk video. Hey, Joe McClane here, host of A Catholic Take, heard Monday through Friday across the station of the Cross Catholic Media Network in a live talk radio show. We cover the headlines from the Vatican to the White House, all points in between. Glad you're here. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. I'd be grateful. Maybe consider subscribing. That'd be amazing. But we have a lot to get to in Pope Leo today. Golly gee whiz, not a great week for him. Not a good look either. We want to talk about the Durbin Cardinal Cupich scandal, his response with a seamless garment. Terrible. And then, of course, he follows it directly up with the blessing of an ice block that was flown 2,500 miles just to be there for this gobbledygook neo-pagan ceremony thing. Want to get into that. But the news breaking today, as I record this, is a brand new Archbishop of Canterbury, a female, the first female in the history of the position. Now, we want to get into that because, in my opinion, that's going to open up a whole nother level of bad papal optics coming your way very, very soon. So did you watch that video clip of Pope Leo being asked the question from a journalist outside Castel Gandolfo about his take, sort of weighing in on the controversy surrounding Cardinal Cupich and wanting to give an award to Democrat Senator Durbin?
I'm not terribly familiar with the particular case. I think that it's very important to look at the overall work that a senator has done during, if I'm not mistaken, 40 years of service in the United States Senate. I understand the difficulty and the tensions, but I think, as I myself have spoken in the past, it's important to look at many issues that are related to what is the teaching of the Church. Someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of the death penalty is not really pro-life. So someone who says that I'm against abortion but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life. So they're very complex issues. I don't know if anyone has all the truth on them.
We had an opportunity there, right? Like, golly gee whiz, he could have said something amazing, but instead he said something very wishy-washy, very milquetoast, and of course, going with the seamless garment theory, actually quite bad, in my opinion. Now, we all know that by now you've probably heard that Durbin has since backed out and is no longer going to accept this award from Cupich, sort of letting his friend off the hook, I suppose. But you might not have heard that Durbin came out and actually lauded Pope Leo, thanking him for supporting him in his response. So it is Durbin's opinion that Pope Leo sided with him. Let that sink in. The pro-abort Catholic who is forbidden from receiving communion in his own diocese. He thinks Leo is on his side. Wouldn't it be nice if the Vatican issued a clarification? Don't hold your breath. Now, if you didn't watch the video, I will link to it below so that you can see it for yourself. But I'd be surprised if by now you haven't watched the video. I've been talking about it all week on the radio show. Essentially, he seemed to look caught off guard to me by the journalist. Like, he had that look of concern as she was setting the question up. You can see his face get, crunched up and stressed because he knows what's about to happen. I don't envy him in that regard. It must be difficult to be, in that position as the vicar of Christ on earth. But hey, that comes with a job, and you said yes. So buckle up, buttercup, and you know what? It's time to man up to the job, is what I would say. At least that's what my drill instructor used to tell me to do. But nonetheless, he goes in wading into this. Well, I don't really know the circumstances. I mean, do you believe he didn't know the circumstances? No, neither do I. You're from Chicago. You clearly have known Cupich. You've heard of Dick Durbin before. You said so in the next sentence of your response. You're telling us, well, over the course of 40 years, he clearly has done some things right. How would you know that unless you are familiar with the circumstances? So don't say one thing and mean another. Just let your yes be yes and your no be no. And then to compound that problem, we get into this seamless garment theory type of response. He doesn't use those words, of course. He doesn't say seamless garment, but this is clearly what he's referring to. How can you be pro-life, say you're against abortion, but be for the death penalty? How can you call yourself pro-life if you don't stand by the immigrant? Well, okay, the state has every right to do what it needs to do to protect its citizens from, hardened criminals that murder people and are unrepentant. And if you put them back on the street, they'll simply kill and maim other people. Like, for instance, that poor innocent Ukrainian girl on that light rail train in Charlotte who was murdered by the guy behind her who had been let out of jail and had multiple infractions. The state has an obligation to protect her from creeps like that and failed to do so. So what are we even talking about? Natural law, St. Thomas Aquinas, many popes have all said that death penalty is definitely something the state can and should do in certain cases. Would we love them to be rare? Yeah, sure, why not, I guess. But ultimately, what we want is for criminals to come to a complete conversion experience and not murder other people. And frankly, that will only happen when bishops decide to get off the fence and try to convert the world, which is their mandate. It's not to play politics. It's to go out and make disciples of all nations. So at the end, this idea that we're going to equate all evils as though they are somehow equal is total nonsense. And I think we can all just admit that, right? I mean, killing a child in the womb is not equal to how we deal with the illegal immigration crisis. Would you wish that we had open borders and just let everybody come and go as they please without any kind of consequence? That would create chaos and havoc in society, which is exactly what we saw under the Biden administration. Okay, the state has an obligation to do something about that. I get that it's not always fun. I get that it sometimes creates difficulties and greater challenges, and it's not perfect and it can be awfully messy. That's life. We live in an imperfect world on this side of the heavenly veil. So it comes with it, but it's definitely not equal to the issue of abortion. So it created a big uproar for Pope Leo, and the optics, as I said, just were not good at all. He got a lot of pushback, and a lot of people are asking today whether or not we've reached a tipping point in the Leonine pontificate. It didn't help that the very next day we got this bizarre quasi-pagan environmental Laudato Si ritual where they put this giant ice block on a pedestal, which they had flown in some 2,500 miles just so Pope Leo could put his hand on it and bless it. Now listen, not opposed to blessing objects. I have my priest bless all kinds of things. My scapular, my rosary, guns, alcohol, tobacco. Yeah, we can bless the ATF, not the ATF, but alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, right? I don't have a problem with blessing things. I have a problem with this because what we're talking about here is optics. This is just pure political theater. That's what we're talking about. And it's not even helpful to society at large. The environment isn't better off. Look at the deer. Look at those deer. Look at them. Bunch of deer back there. Why are we not hunting back here? The environment wasn't at all benefited because they did this weird emotional gobbledygook thing of blessing this ice cube, this block of ice, and then unfurling this giant blue banner. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is what is he, 80 years old and he's still dyeing his hair? Dude, embrace the gray, grow up, you are who you are. And they all start shaking these cardinals and everybody's just shaking this, oh, it's so precious, this river flowing from the iceberg. It's just, the environment's just that much better off now. Amen. Are you kidding me? Like, really? Like, how did the earth benefit from this nonsense? You know what? Bless the iceberg, whatever. Then proclaim the gospel. Then proclaim the truth of what it means to be a true steward of the world. It doesn't mean this environmental gobbledygook nonsense that sells all political jargon and no real serious action. If we truly love this world, we aren't going to, use chemicals to corporatize farming and to destroy the soil and then poison our people through, all this processed foods. We aren't going to go and allow the China to own all of this slave labor in Africa in the cobalt mines and create all these birth defects from their waterways being so corrupted that, people are dying and getting sick all the time there just so that I can have a Tesla and a solar panel. We wouldn't be doing those things. We would be very serious about defending man and woman in marriage, trying to raise kids and trying to live subsistence or beautiful and healthy lifestyles. We aren't being serious about this. What we are doing instead is playing politics. So I call BS on that. Thank you, but no thank you. I don't want your gobbledygook pagan ceremony. I don't need any of that nonsense. Just proclaim the good, the true, and the beautiful. Now, when I criticized Pope Leo about this, someone pushed back and said, Joe, these modern bishops, these modern popes are just leading us in a new direction. It's not their job to lead us in a new direction. Literally not their job. Their job is to strengthen the brethren. Their job is to defend the faith, pass on the faith that was handed down from one generation to the next. That is their job, not to reinterpret it in light of the modern era. Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Humans, with their concupiscent nature, are the same, believe it or not. Simply because I have electricity and, Pontius Pilate didn't, doesn't change the approach that we have to have in addressing sinners and the world around us. That's nonsense.
If we want good, clean water to drink, water to irrigate our crops, to provide food for our families, resources that will provide healthy alternatives to the insanity of
corporate farming and bad processed foods that make us sick, then we need to make converts of all nations, because that is the mission Christ gave his apostles, to go forth to make apostles and disciples of all nations. So why have we stopped? Nothing has changed. The mission remains the same. But it's about to get worse. Just when you thought Pope Leo meeting with Father James Martin was a problem, or the LGBTQ rainbow pilgrimage at the Vatican was an issue, you think those optics are bad? Whew. Because breaking news today, there's a new Archbishop of Canterbury in town. For the first time in 1,400 years, it is now a woman. Just wait until this new Archbishop from Canterbury shows up at the Vatican with all of her vestments and all of the stuff, the costume of a bishop, and expects full well that the Vatican, Pope Leo himself, will treat her with the same level of dignity and respect that they treated her predecessor. I mean, it's been happening now. I mean, going back to even Benedict XVI, maybe JP2, where the Archbishop of Canterbury pays respects at the Vatican, and the Pope receives them. So when the Pope receives this female pretending to be with the collar on, and think about the pictures that'll be taken, the optics are going to be terrible. What is he to do? Is he just going to receive her that way and pretend as everything is normal when clearly it's not? There's a reason why our Lord only chose men for the priesthood. It was always by design. Going back to Genesis chapter 1, 2, and 3, Adam is priest, prophet, and king in the Garden of Eden. He does the work, the sacramental work of a priest in that garden. He bears the image and likeness into the wild. He takes it and he cultivates and extends the garden sanctuary. He names all the creatures because he has dominion as a king over these creatures. This is the same language, the same thing that happens with the Levitical priest. And then, of course, it goes on into the priesthood in the upper room when Jesus consecrates them and institutes the Eucharist. But that is just not the case with women. They were never called to be priests, and they never will. Even John Paul II, back in 1994, made this definitive statement that God will not allow his church to change what he has set in motion. And because God didn't call women to be priests, neither can they change that. And he said it was definitive for all time. It's a done deal, but yet we continue to debate this stuff. So they're trying to normalize this behavior. And I guarantee this is going to be the big bad optics that's going to be coming very soon to the Vatican. Will you be scandalized? I think many will. So that begs the question, have we come to a tipping point in the Leonine pontificate? Many think so. There have been many online who are like, I told you so. I knew this guy was bad from the very beginning. And all you trad inkers out there who are just covering it up and pope-splaining and spinning everything positive. I mean, get the heck out of town. Are you kidding me? Like it's a crime to want the best of the next pope. I mean, are you kidding? We should want and desire the absolute best. I like Michael Matt's response best when Leo was first announced. And that is, we have to support him. We're going to support him. We're going to pray for him. And we're going to take the wins as they come, but we will resist what is wrong and what is in error. That's the right response right there. My first reaction to Leo was, this is not going to be good. You can go back and see it on my live video streams. I could not believe that they had elected an American from Chicago, who was in Peru, the home of the liberation theology movement, an American from Chicago who served in Peru, who is buddies with Cupich, McElroy, Tobin. Are you Father Martin? Like what? This can't be good. And also Cardinal Burke likes him and others. I mean, like, I'm confused. What am I supposed to make of this? Of course, there had to be a wait and see period. And we've been waiting and we've been seeing. And I don't love the appointments. Have you heard a word about anything on the case of Father Marco Rupnik? Nothing. Zero. We haven't heard a single word. The Becciu trial is going on at the Vatican right now. He's already said, I'm not getting involved. We're going to let it play out. Well, then give us an update on the Rupnik story. Is he going to be tried? Will he be held to an account for his crimes that he has perpetuated, not just on the sisters of the order that he abused, but on the whole world through his evil and disastrous artwork that hangs still at Lourdes and the crypt of St. Padre Pio and other places? It's got to go. It's got to go, and Leo should do something about that. So clearly the Recognize and Resist movement is alive and well, and probably about to get a lot more active. I think we're all at that point where we're like, listen, we want the best. We love the smells and bells. We like that things are calmer. We like that there's TLMs being said again in Rome. Praise be to God, like at St. Peter's Basilica just the other day on Michaelmas. We like that. We want more of it, please. But come to the rescue of those in Charlotte. Come to the rescue of those that are suffering in Austin, Texas, or in Michigan, or a bunch of other places where bishops have been vicious to their people and exiling them, ostracizing them, dividing them, cutting them off from the body of Christ in their diocese. They have zero charity, these men. And frankly, Leo needs to do something about that. It's inexcusable, in my humble opinion, but who am I? I'm definitely not the vicar of Christ on earth. And my opinion and a nickel pretty much gets you nowhere. But I want to know what you think. Let me know. Is the papal optics tolerable? Has it gone past the point of toleration? Have we reached a tipping point? You let me know what you think in the comment box below. Thanks for going for the walk. I'll see you on the next one. God love you.